the Doomsday Machine.
Welcome to The Internet Says It's True, a show where we learn something new every week, part of the WCBE podcast experience. While I'm taking a break for these 3 weeks, I've chosen 3 of my favorite podcast episodes to rebroadcast. Next week, the show will return with an all-new episode and the beginning of Season 3. But here is the episode that has been, by far, the most popular one I've done so far. It aired February 28th of this year, and it's all about the end of the world.
Hey Michael, this is Joel from Shepherdstown, and I just learned that CNN has a special Doomsday video that they will play when the world ends. Thought you might like to check it out.
I've heard about this as a rumor, and I didn't know if it was true or not. It sort of reminds me of the alternate speech that Richard Nixon had his speechwriters prepare in case the moon landing ended in catastrophe. Maybe that would be a good future episode. But for now, let's search Doomsday CNN video. Okay, it looks like not only does this video exist, but there was a leak and it was actually released and put onto the internet. Wow. I often wonder if there's an end-of-the-world event, would it be something that we'd even be able to prepare for? Would any television news network have the time to make a call to the control room and say, play the thing? Or what if it was sort of a slow die-off that happened over the course of several months or years, and we didn't even see it as the end of the world until it was too late? Well, CNN was prepared for it, and in this case, the story starts with CNN's founder, Ted Turner. Ted Turner was once called the Lost Tycoon by The New Yorker. The man who started CNN in 1980 and subsequently became a media mogul is known to be an eccentric and often dramatic risk-taker. His role in creating Turner Broadcasting and its many subsequent channels saw some of the world's most memorable and tragic moments, broadcast from what was really the first 24/7 news channel. It was the only network that aired the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster live. It created a saga out of the rescue of baby Jessica McClure as she fell down a well. From constant coverage of the Gulf War in the early 90s to the coverage of the Oklahoma City bombing, the Bill Clinton impeachment, the release of Nelson Mandela, to the fall of the Soviet Union, CNN created the concept of round-the-clock news coverage. And this was part of Ted Turner's vision for the news channel. Here's audio from Turner when he announced the launch of his cable news network.
One reason I'm pursuing this thing as strongly as I am is not just for us, but I think the people of America need this in-depth news service, and I'm willing and have been willing all along to risk everything that I have to provide that service, and we're going to provide it come heck or high water. We intend to cover all the news all the time. And since we're going to be on for such a long period, continuously, we sign on June 1, and barring satellite problems in the future, we won't be signing off until the world ends.
That last part. Let's listen to that again.
Barring satellite problems in the future, we won't be signing off until the world ends.
Many thought it was just a quip, just a joke. But around 8 years later, in 1988, rumors started circulating of a Doomsday Tape. The New Yorker published an article talking about the possible existence of the video. Until this point, it had been a rumor, but this article in the September 12, 1988 New Yorker was an interview of sorts with Ted Turner himself. He had apparently brought someone from the magazine into the studio and played the so-called sign-off tape for them. They reported watching footage of a military band, a combined Army, Navy, Marine, and Air Force band, playing the national anthem, and then the song, Nearer My God to Thee. If the title of that song sounds familiar, it's because that song is famous for being the one the band played as the Titanic was sinking. As they viewed the tape, the New Yorker reports that Turner said he couldn't even watch it without getting tears in his eyes. He had to leave the room. Looking at the international political climate in the late 70s and the 80s is crucial to understanding what was going through Ted Turner's mind. Around the time Turner was creating CNN, Soviet forces were invading Afghanistan. That was also the same year as the Iranian hostage crisis. Then 4 years later, the United States invaded and overthrew the regime in Grenada. President Reagan had proposed a strategic defense initiative, proving to all that defending the U.S. from what was deemed the new Cold War was of national importance. Americans had seen the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Vietnam War, and a general deterioration of foreign relations all over the world. From there until 1990, the Cold War slowly ground down as the Soviet Union dissolved, East and West Germany united, and the threat of a nuclear war became less likely. But the image of nuclear war, of assured mass destruction, was a very real threat in the minds of many Americans. In fact, because of a lack of communication and a training exercise, there were actually 10 days in November of 1983 that almost led to a nuclear war between the US and the Soviet Union. But that's probably a story for another episode. The point is, it was a very real scenario to many that there may be a day when the world is ending, and Ted Turner thought if that happened, he should stay on the air. And just like many television stations used to begin and end each day with the national anthem, the same should go with the end of the world. Well, we don't have to guess what's on that tape anymore because eventually it made its way to the internet. And I'm going to share it with you after a few quick messages. Do you like jokes? How about stories? What about magic tricks? If you said yes to any of those, you'll love my weekly live stream show, Joke Story Trick Live. Every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, we gather to tell listener jokes, do magic, even learn magic, and bring on a special guest to tell a story. We've had everyone from a sitting U.S. congressman to television stars to WWE wrestlers. It's always a great time, and it's a free show. Just go to jokestorytrick.com to watch past episodes or tune in every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's jokestorytrick.com. I hope to see you there. I'm excited to be partnered with this company because it's a product that I've used and loved for years. Scotty Vest makes gear that looks great and is packed with pockets. And as much as I travel, that's always been a huge perk. But even on years like this one where I don't travel as much, my Scotty Vest fleece is just as useful because I'm always carrying so much stuff with me. My wallet, my phones, my keys, my mask, and there's a pocket for everything. Not only that, they now have an awesome new face mask that allows you to even use a straw while wearing it. Go to ScottyVest.com, that's SCOTTEVEST.com, and use my promo code TELLME, all one word, for 15% off your order. That's ScottyVest.com and enter promo code TELLME. If you're a fan of this show, my other show, Joke Story Trick, or my comedy magic career in general, you should consider supporting me by joining my Patreon. I work hard to make sure that there's always fresh content on there, including bonus footage, exclusive videos, and free stuff like stickers, balloons, drink koozies, and more. You can join for as little as $1 a month and can leave at any time. I consider the folks over at Patreon my most loyal and true fans, and I would love to see you there too. Just go to patreon.com/Michael Kent and choose what level of membership is best for you. You can pledge $1, $5, or $10 and get more and more bonuses the more you pledge. Once again, that's patreon.com/Michael Kent.
Hi, Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room.
Michael Balaban is the name of a guy who was an intern at CNN in 2009, working on the Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer. Prior to working there, he remembers hearing from a college professor who had also worked at the network about the Doomsday Tape. It was the first time Michael had heard of such a thing. But one day, while bored at work, he remembered the story that his professor had told him, and he decided to look into the database. And there it was. Turner Doomsday Video. Native aspect ratio, native standard definition 4:3. Restriction. Hold for release till end of world confirmed. While he admits to watching the video back then, Michael Balaban didn't save the video in 2009. However, 6 years later, he would end up writing an article for Gawker and actually got his hands on a copy of the tape. So the internet said it was true, and it is. Ted Turner lost control of his network when it merged with Time Warner and was bought by AOL. He said in numerous interviews that the merger didn't go the way he wanted once AOL got involved, and he ended up getting forced out. The tape, however, survives at CNN, and here it is for you to listen to, the video that Ted Turner intended for CNN to play. It's a military band playing Nearer My God to Thee before the video fades to black. It's time for the part of the podcast where I call a friend and see if they already know what we have just learned. Today I've invited comedian Jay Black on the show. Jay is a stand-up comedian, screenwriter, and actor who regularly opens for Kevin Nealon on the road. I've known him for years from doing college gigs together.
Michael Kent! It's good
on,
to see
Jay
you,
Black?
brother.
I know. How many years has it been since we hung out? It's probably been several.
The last time I remember us spending time together was in Apca, Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
And I had my son with me. And it was when...
Keen.
Yeah, Lil Keen.
Yeah.
He did magic for him in the basement of that hotel.
Yeah, I remember. He loved it. He loved magic.
Yes, he did. And you did a great job. And he was, of all of the stuff that he did that weekend, it was you and the Coca-Cola Museum that really got him going.
That's awesome. Well, when in Rome, you have to do as the Romans do, and that is drink a boatload of Coke.
Can I take a moment, though, and just say two things to you before we get into it?
Yeah.
One, I love Penn and Teller. Since I was a kid, I love Penn and Teller. I'm probably the only person in the world who's seen Penn and Teller get killed more than once. Love that movie. And I haven't seen you in a while. We followed each other on Twitter, and I see you post the link that you were on with Penn and Teller on television, Michael Kent.
I did the show. Yeah.
That of anything else, honestly, if you had met Gandhi, less impressive. If you had said, "Oh, I went backpacking over the weekend with Barack Obama," I'd be like, "Tell me what Teller smells like." Far more exciting to me. So that's all. I just want to say congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you. It was an unbelievable experience. So our quiz today has nothing to do with any of this.
Sorry, I just want you. We haven't talked in so long, Michael Kent. I wanted to chat with you about it.
I appreciate the conversation. It's a tough segue because what we're going to talk about is a video.
Okay.
In my quiz, we have stakes for all of these questions, and there are 5 of them. 5 questions.
Okay.
For this first question, if you get it right, I will wear 2 masks next time I go out in public.
Okay, well, it's a smart move either way.
If you get it wrong, single mask.
So you're risking death based on whether or not my knowledge is here. All right, let's do it.
My health depends on your knowledge. That's basically what we're talking about. In 2015, a decades-old piece of video was leaked from the CNN archives, which, until then, had only been rumored to have existed. Was it a second angle of the Kennedy assassination?
Okay.
B, a doomsday tape to be played when the world ends? Or C, operating room footage of Lou Dobbs getting a vasectomy?
Well, first off, how erotic, that third one. It's B. It was, if there was a nuclear bomb dropping, this was CNN coming in to go, smoke them if you got them. I'm very excited about that, yeah.
You are correct. It is B. Jay, next time I go into public, double mask for me.
Look at that. You're avoiding your own doomsday, Michael.
That's that's right. I do not have a video prepared. I should do that. For this question, this is question number 2, and I should note that with your job, you've met lots of famous people, or at least semi-famous, and I have as well. If you get this question right, I will tell you the worst celebrity encounter I've had. If you get it wrong, you have to tell me the worst celebrity encounter you've had.
Sure, got it.
It was quick. You already have it in mind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. I'll tell it to you either way.
Okay. What was Ted Turner's first career? A, was he a used car salesman? B, a billboard salesman? Or C, a bison rancher?
C, bison rancher.
I'm sorry. He was a billboard salesman.
He bought a bison ranch at one point.
Yes,
Though,
he
right?
was a bison rancher, but that became after he got money. So hit me with your celebrity moment.
Okay, so I was, I write movies. That's my other job, and I had written a TV pilot that was getting made called Paulie with Paul Sorvino from Goodfellas. Michael Madsen was in it. Janine Garofalo, my childhood crush. All sorts of people were in it. But they were all fantastic. That's not my celebrity story. While I'm out there, the guy I wrote it with, my writing partner, Brian Herzlinger, he's good friends with Heather Graham because they did a movie together. If you know Heather Graham, she's Roller Girl from Boogie Nights. So she goes, I'm going to a birthday party at Moby's house. Do you want to go to Moby's house? And I go, yeah, sure, let's go. So we go to Moby's house. And we get there, and 2 things happened that just made me feel terrible. The first one is, at the time, I was only drinking Jack and Coke. I don't know why. It was just a thing I was into. And Moby's a vegan or some sort of food thing that he eats that the food was terrible. That's all I know, is that if you go to a party at Moby's house, you're going to eat cookies that taste terrible. So I'm looking for Coke. And I asked like 3 or 4 people where the Coke might be, forgetting I was at a Hollywood party and that they might be thinking I was asking for something else. So the 4th time I asked, this huge dude walks over to me, and he's like a bodyguard or a bouncer at Moby's house. And he goes, I don't know what kind of party you think this is, but, stop asking people for Coke. And I had to do the thing where I was like, oh, no. It's just that Moby's tastes are terrible. I need a drink of Coca-Cola. But the second part of that story is that they said absolutely no pictures in there, if you're just like a traveler. Okay. So, Michael, I go down in his garage. He's turned his garage into a DJ area, and he's spinning. I guess that's the term. Is that what the millennials say? Spinning?
I think so.
So I go in and everybody's dancing. My friend Brian is dancing with Heather Graham, right? And I'm like, oh, wow, maybe something will happen. Nothing did. So they're dancing. Everybody's dancing. And I can't help it. I got to take a picture of this. And the flash was on. So I took a picture. And it was like a TV series. Like everything stopped. And I turned around. And I swear I did the thing where I turned to like, who did? They said no pictures like that. So I have like one really bad flash picture of everybody kind of mid-dance from Moby's garage in the hills of Hollywood.
Oh my God, that is amazing. That is amazing. That is a fantastic story, and you should be on my show, Joke Story Trick, sometime to tell that story.
Sure, yeah.
That's what we do. Is I get people on to tell stories exactly like that one. Unbelievable. Thank you for telling a story.
Thank you for letting me.
Question number 3. If you get this one right, I will send you a Tell Me What to Google sticker in the mail. I've got 200 of them left, and the show isn't called that anymore, so they're collector's items.
Oh, wow.
If you get it wrong,
you have to college.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. If you get it wrong, you have to send me some sort of J Black merch. I don't know what.
I got a Frisbee somewhere.
Put these end of the world scenarios in order from least likely to most likely.
Okay.
1, giant meteor. 2, nuclear annihilation. 3, alien invasion and destruction?
Okay. First
Least
off,
likely to most likely.
I know we don't get political, but Trump 2024 not on the list. That
No,
would be first.
yeah, not on the list, but could be related to any of these three things. Really.
Right.
First.
Alien I would say is least.
Okay.
Meteor is second least. Nuclear annihilation first least, most likely.
Wow. Okay. I'll give it to you. We'll say that that's correct. I'll send you a sticker in the mail. I don't know that I have them in the same order. Yeah, I probably have them in the same order. I would think giant meteor and nuclear annihilation are both really close. Okay. Question 4. If you get this right, I will take my entire last paycheck from a show and put it into savings as soon as we're done.
Okay.
If you get it wrong, I will finally, hang on a second. We got a call. Let me start that part over.
That's your wife calling, going, you should put it into savings no matter what, Michael.
Well, I was just about to bring her up because if you get it wrong, I will finally put in the new floors my wife's been asking me about.
Oh, wow. I got a lot of pressure on myself.
There's a lot of pressure on this.
I should tank this either way for your wife's sake.
You should. The final song on the Doomsday Tape is Nearer My God to Thee. For what reason is this song most well known?
Nearer My God.
1.
Oh, I know this.
It was played at Abraham Lincoln's funeral. 2. It was played during the sinking of the Titanic. 3. It was composed by Ted Turner.
So I know the answer to this, but I got to be on the side of your wife. So I'm going to say Lincoln.
Oh, man. That is incorrect.
Oh, is it? My God. Don't say that it was the Titanic, Michael. No.
It was the Titanic.
What?
And
damn it. I thought I knew it.
So I've got to put in new floors.
You're welcome, Mrs. Kent.
I've been putting off going to meet with the contractor about it. We've been talking about it forever. So I will get on that this week, Jay.
Sorry, I usually know these things so well. I don't know what happened.
And when I go to the store and when I sign that contract, I will be thinking of you.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope every time you walk on the floor, you think of my face. Michael, did you ever play, have you ever played a cruise ship?
Yes.
I have the feeling that if we were sinking, they would send us up to do like time.
Yeah.
They'd be like, hey, just do like on the deck while the boat's sinking just to keep everybody occupied.
Well, that's basically what happened with COVID, right? Like the folks were stuck on the ship and the entertainers were still on the ship and they were left to try to entertain people and perform extra shows. They had gone through all the material that they had. They were coming up with new shows on the ship just to entertain the guests because some of these folks were on the ship 2 weeks longer than they were supposed to be.
And for the people at home, performers think they're invincible if they have a gig.
Yeah.
Like I can't get COVID. I'm doing comedy. It wouldn't happen. It's just our brain set is we got to do the gig no matter what.
No matter what, the show must go on. So, question 5. This one's for all the marbles. If you get this wrong, I'm banning you from this show, never to be asked on again.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened already.
Well, Jay, this is a tough one.
Okay.
Here's the question. What are you most looking forward to when the pandemic is officially over?
Oh, geez, this is a tough one. Now, I should say, going to see my friends and family again, but that's not it. It should be, hugging my child and bringing them to school, but that's not it. It's seeing a movie.
Seeing a movie.
I haven't seen a movie. Close second is having breakfast at a diner where they bring you coffee, like just that unlimited coffee refill.
Yeah,
I miss that so much. Just look down and see hot coffee there. But that's second. First, I joined, and I'm no way sponsored by this, the AMC Movie Pass thing, where you get to see 3 free movies. You pay $25 a month. You get to see 3 movies a week.
Yeah,
I had a year of that. And I saw 3 movies every week. There's a movie theater around the corner from my house for unless I was gigging, in which case I would only see 1 or 2. I miss it more than anything. The lights coming down.
Yeah.
And
it's an experience. It's an event.
Yeah, going in there in the summer where it's 112 degrees outside and like -9 in the theater.
The smell of the popcorn.
And just seeing Hollywood crap again. I love it. I love it. And I miss it.
Well, you got that question correct. So you will be back on the show sometime.
Yeah.
Jay, it has been awesome having you on, man. Tell people where they can find out about you.
So, listen, I got a website, but there's nothing on it right now because I'm not gigging. But my big thing is Twitter. I'm all in on Twitter because in my head it's 2011. Please see me on Twitter. Jay Black is funny. JayBlackisfunny. Jay Black is funny. Twitter. Please find me there.
I can vouch for his Twitter. You are one of my favorite tweeters.
Oh, thank you.
You commonly come up as the top reply to a lot of the people that I follow on Twitter. So I think our Twitter universe is probably very similar in terms of who we follow. So thanks again, man.
If you're on political Twitter, I've probably annoyed you at some point.
Yes.
I like to say.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thanks for having me. This was awesome, buddy. I appreciate it.
It's good to see your face. Take care, man.
You too, buddy. See you later.
Well, that's all for this week. If you enjoyed this episode, please help me out by leaving a review of the podcast on iTunes, along with a sentence or two, because writing a few words helps a ton to allow other people to listen. Tune in next week to learn something new if the internet says it's true. The Internet Says It's True would like to thank the Patreon subscribers whose monthly contributions put them at producer status. Sean Brown, Catherine Morgan, Taylor Hurt, Bryce Swanson, Mitch Joseph Kemplin, Alan Sokolic, Eugene Anderson, Matt McVeigh, and Scott Schuler. The show is written and produced by me, Michael Kent. The theme song is by Finite Music Forge, and additional music this week was from Aaron Kinney. All audio clips in this episode are used for education and commentary and used under Fair Use Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107. You can listen to past episodes by searching for The Internet Says It's True wherever you get your podcasts, and you can see bonus content at patreon.com/Michael Kent.